Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Kind of in a weird spot here. I'm in my bedroom, but I want to talk to you guys today about something that I think is super important. And it's one of the first things that I always try to address with you guys when we start these challenges. And that just boils down to stretching. Is stretching important? Why do we stretch? What's the point of stretching? The point of stretching is essentially it's essentially to warm your muscles up by facilitating myofascial release, which basically means you're stretching the muscle fibers a little bit to allow them to be in peak shape for what you're about to put your body through. So I absolutely think that warm up and stretching is mandatory. And what you guys are going to notice is that in a lot of your workouts, I've built in a cardio session before you go to do your workout itself, right? There's usually about 10 minutes of cardio in there. And the reason why I've done that is that the most recent studies have kind of indicated that it doesn't necessarily matter when you do your cardio or how you do your cardio. They've actually indicated that splitting it up may actually provide additional hormonal benefits such as testosterone and GH spikes. But I always stick a little bit in front because the truth of the matter is that doing 10 minutes of cardio at the start and 20 minutes of cardio at the end is essentially the same as doing a half an hour continuous cardio. It's kind of what they found. So I like to put in 10 minutes of cardio as just kind of a warm up to get your body ready for the workout you're about to do. And that's for a bunch of reasons, just to warm up your joints, lube up your joints, get your body moving. Because when we don't warm up and we don't stretch, and we just go into lifting heavy weights or even medium weights, because as you guys know, I'm more adamant on lifting medium weights slowly. We're more prone to injury when we're not warmed up. And I remember when I was younger, I used to go to the gym all the time and I would work my ass off and I wouldn't warm up. And I wonder why I was always tearing my shoulder and, tearing quads and doing this and doing that. And the older I get, the more it's about sustainability. And the more I don't want to hurt myself, the more I want to be able to exercise and work out safely and perform my workouts safely. So I'm going to go over some things today. One, just some basic ground rules. Number one, I highly suggest that even if you're not splitting up your cardio, because sometimes you guys may want to do it fasted in the morning, it might just not be efficient. I really recommend that you hop onto at least an elliptical for about 5 minutes, just to get everything moving, get the joints going, get some blood pumping, and prep your body for the work that you're going to do. So highly recommend you hop on an elliptical at the very least for at least 5 minutes or whatever other preferred or prescribed cardio you guys have. And then at that point, I recommend before your workout, there's two different kinds of stretching. There's static stretching and then there's dynamic stretching. And basically static is a hold, so it's a long hold. It's, for example, when you're stretching out your forearm and you're applying pressure for 30 seconds and you're letting go. But what a lot of studies have found is that doing some of that static stretching can actually affect your athletic performance. Now, just as kind of a disclaimer, a lot of those studies were done on professional athletes, and a lot of the studies in particular that were done on stretching and some of the way that some people say that static stretching may not be good was directly related to the performance of sprinters. So it's kind of something to take with a grain of salt, but I still believe that doing some dynamic stretches before your workout is extremely beneficial. A little bit of cardio just to get the blood moving, and then doing some dynamic stretches. And one thing that I'm absolutely adamant on is rolling out your joints. And that's just moving your joints in all directions. So I'm going to kind of go over just a really basic starting stretch, right? Dynamic stretching actually just is little touches. And the reason why we do little touches before we work out is to avoid reducing any capacity to be able to do work. But not only that, it's just to get your body warmed up and ready, and to make sure that when you go to lift that weight, your joints are warmed up, they're lubricated, and they're ready to rock. So there's a lot of different ways you can stretch, but I just want to kind of lay down like some really basic stretches, right? So you get to the gym, or maybe you're at the house or wherever you are, and you've done your 5-minute warm up of cardio. The next thing that I tend to do is I tend to do a little rollout of all my joints, and it's super simple. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the quick techniques that I do. A lot of people will stretch differently, but for anybody who's kind of new, I can't tell you how important stretching is going to be on your longevity. We'll talk more about static stretching at another time, but this video is more so centered towards just getting you ready for your workout. So I'm done my cardio, I'm standing here, and then the next thing that I typically do is I want to roll out all my joints. And what I mean by roll out all my joints is just I usually start with my hands and my wrists, and I kind of work my way up. I hit my neck, and then I come all the way down to my body. And when I refer to rolling out my joints, I just mean maybe 20 rotations, and you can even hear them cracking right now, but just 20 rotations in each direction. So I'll do my wrists, right, and I'll roll them the other way. And then I'll move to my elbows, and I'll just kind of, this motion, right, I'm just getting the joints lubed up, I'm getting them ready. I'm going to do circles in one way, and then I'm going to go the other way. After that, I'll continue to my shoulders, and I'll start with big, wide, long circles in one direction, coming into small circles. And then from there, I'll kind of revert, after about 20 rotations, I'll reverse the direction, and I'll go with big circles, going into bigger circles. And I'll just kind of vary the size of my circles just to make sure that I'm hitting all of my shoulders from different directions. Another thing that you typically want to do is you want to make sure that you roll out your neck, but some caution when you're rolling out your neck. When you roll out your neck and you continue all the way back, you're more prone to injury. So if you continue to roll throughout the entire circle of your neck, essentially, you've got more chances of being injured. So what they do recommend is just down in the front. So you're going to come down, or just lubed up the neck, and do about 20 each side. Another thing that I like to do is I like to give myself a little bit of resistance against my neck, just to make sure it's warmed up. So I'll take my head, I'll press, and I won't press too hard, but I'll press enough just to put some pressure on the front of my head. I'll give it some pressure. I'll do it for both the sides as well, for about 20 seconds here. I'm going to do 20 seconds over here, and I'm going to push against my head. I don't do it in the back because they've found that you're more prone to injuries when that happens. So once I've got my neck warmed up, believe it or not, I'm going to move to this one, which is just the hips. There's a lot of connective tissue, a lot of moving parts in the hips, and I'll kind of do wide circles. You can hear my body cracking and popping just from my workout today. And then I'll slowly move into tighter circles, and then I'm going to switch directions, smaller circles, moving into wider circles. I'm going to do probably 20 for each side, right? Knees, guys, knees are absolutely crucial. And it's kind of, I'm going to try to show you. I'm going to have to step back. I just want to make sure that the audio is clear for you guys. But when I step back, I'm going to roll my knees, and I'm going to proceed down to my ankles. So I'm going to step back, and you can kind of see my knees. I'm rolling my knee, right, one direction. Just say safely 20. You want to make sure that that you get a good stretch in those knees, because there's a lot of connective tissue, and you want to make sure that it's lubed up. You don't want to do it too forcefully. You're not trying to kill yourself. You're just trying to move your knees around in both directions just to get them warmed up. You're going to switch over. You're going to do the next one. And then probably, once again, one of the more crucial parts that I like to make sure I roll out are my ankles. So I'm going to move down to my ankles. I'm just going to place my ankle here, and I'm just going to do little circles. One direction, about 20 of them, let's say, and then I'm going to switch. Another one, and then I'm going to move over to the other side. After that, I like to do what I said, dynamic stretching. And dynamic stretching is just a little series of touches. So I'm going to start by, with my feet. I'm going to bend over, and just little touches. You don't want to push it too much. You just want to get your joints moved up. So you're going to bend over. You're going to keep your back straight, down. You don't want to go too far. And you don't want to force it. You're warming up. Hi, Guido. So you do about 20 touches like that, nice and light. Don't go too far. Make sure that you're activating the muscle, and make sure that you're activating the joint, but you don't want to put too much pressure on there. Following that, I'll do a bunch of different stretches. I've already got my hips warmed up, but typically speaking, I'm going to grab something. I'm going to make sure I stretch my hamstring. So I'm angling my, let me see if I can show you, my knee down as I push back, and I squeeze my glute. You're going to want to stay there. Just little pumps, little baby pumps, kind of like that. You don't want to stretch too hard. You don't want to pull too hard. You just want to give about 20 little pumps to get that muscle warmed up. I'll move over. I'll do the other leg. One of the things that's really important, of course, is to stretch your back out as well. And the way that I typically do that is I'm going to approach a wall. I'm going to put my hands above me, and I'm just going to apply some pressure to my back. And as I said, it's almost like a little bit of a pulse. Now, I'm not pulsing them too hard to the point that I'm causing damage, but I'm just giving them a little bit of a pulse. So just to kind of share what I'm talking about, my hands are up here, I'm pushing, and I'm pulsing a little bit, just like that. Just activating my lats. Sorry if I was showing you my butt crack there. I'll do about 20 pulses there. Of course, I'm going to stretch out my shoulders. Your basic one is here. I don't want to go too far, but just little squeezes. You know, a set of 20 with your arms in front. The other arm, of course. I'm going to take my arm, and I'm going to make sure I don't moon you guys, but I'm going to take my arm, I'm going to reach it over my body, and I'm just going to do a little, you can kind of see I'm grabbing my arm here, and I'm just pulling it lightly to the side. So I'm crunching my obliques, I'm crunching my back. I'm going to do about 20 of those. Nice side crunches. After that, I typically am going to make sure that I stretch out my forearms because those are really important too. And I'm not going to hold them for the 30-second statics. I'm just giving them little touches, right? By this time, you've already rolled out your joints. You've already got everything activated. But you just want to prep your muscles to do work. Little dynamic stretches. I'm going to go below. I'm going to do about 20 of these. 20 is kind of a safe number to go by. And it's just a little bit of pressure and a little bit of a squeeze in your forearm. You're going to switch over, you're going to do the other arm. And there's a bunch more exercises and a bunch more stretches that you can do. I recommend that you do stretch as much as possible, but just be careful. You're just priming your body. You don't want to reduce the possibility of strength, and you definitely don't want to overstretch. You're just making sure that your body's up, your body's going, and everything's good. Of course, before you go to do an exercise, I always recommend that you guys throw in just a little quick warm-up set. And I know that sounds silly, but that's as much as doing the motion without the weight. And a lot of that has to do with the mind-muscle connection and allowing your body to kind of feel the muscles that you're going to be squeezing without weight. So it's just going to give your body basically a chance to visualize the motion and make sure that you're squeezing the muscles themselves, because a lot of the exercises that you guys will be doing, you're also going to be giving a little squeeze in your muscle, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But I wanted to kind of just give you a really super basic guideline for doing some stretches. Stretching is really important. There's a ton more leg stretches that we can do and that we can get into, but I think that routine as an absolute minimum is really important. Don't forget your cardio. Make sure that you're warming up your joints. Make sure that you're warming up your body. Do at least 5 minutes, guys. If something's steady state, don't go all out. Don't hold your stretches for too long. Don't force your stretches. Make sure you roll out all your joints. Coco and Burrito in the background. Make sure you roll out all your joints. And make sure that you give yourself a warm up, and that's gonna make sure that you can finish the challenge. Because as I always say, it's all about sustainability. And you can blast through 3 weeks and then tear your quad, and then really how far did you come? You're sitting backwards, and this is coming from a guy who's done just about everything. And that's why I train the way that I do, and that's why I advocate training the way that I do. And leaving your ego at the door, because there's not too many things that I haven't done. But the truth of the matter is that I haven't done anything in a very long time, because I smartened up, I do my stretching, I do my cardio, and I make sure all my joints are rolled out. Hope you guys are having an awesome day, awesome night, whatever it is, wherever you are. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below, and I will talk to you guys soon.